Welcome back, YouTubers, to another Q&A 20 with us, the British Fist.
Cha-ching.
Do you know what? You've done that so often now, Andrew, that I'm starting to feel it on my knuckles, and my knuckles are actually starting to sort of shape like your hand. It's kind of weird.
And my fingers are so out of shape from your fist touching the bendy part of the finger.
Yes.
But as for this Q&A, it is sponsored today by Monster.
Hasn't it always been sponsored?
Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew.
Oh no, we're not going to go WWE now. Come on. We're not going to pretend to drink it and pretend to like it and say it's awesome, are we?
No, but what we are going to do the right way and not make any botching mistakes like I just did is answer these questions.
All right. Okay. Yes. Oh, I missed the parking, by the way. Don't know if I've already said this. This is NJ.
What's up?
There we go. That's what we wanted to see. That's really the only reason you tuned into the video. So
goodbye.
If that's what you wanted to do, then see you later.
No.
If you want to listen to us answer some questions, then tune in for the next 19 or so minutes. The first question is from Renegade Man 83, a regular question asker on our Q&As. The question, it looks like these questions would have been asked around about WrestleMania time. Thoughts on Seth Rollins cashing his Money in the Bank briefcase and winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship? Probably the best move WWE could have done. If Roman Reigns won, the fans would have shat on it. If Brock Lesnar won, it would have been a bit So I think having Seth Rollins come out in a surprising way and cashing the Money in the Bank briefcase as he did was not just better for the main event, in my opinion, but it was better in the sense that Brock Lesnar could then go away for a while, and then you could do a little bit something trying to build Seth Rollins up and make some different matches out of Seth Rollins being champion rather than having Cena go after Brock Lesnar again. So I think all in all, it was a pretty good last-minute booking decision. That was a last-minute booking decision. You just know it.
Last minute or not, I felt if it weren't for Seth, that match, people compliment what Brock did, what Reigns did, but to me, I would not have enjoyed that match if Seth didn't cash in. I think Seth made that match for me because Brock, you know my opinion. Yes, he's a big, tough guy, a guy who should be knocking down challenge after challenger after challenger. But with him being part-time, I've lost as much interest in him than I once had a while back. Roman Reigns, the WWE messed him up. I don't see what was wrong with keeping him in as the dominant Shield Reigns, but have some losses on his way. So I think Seth coming in, doing the first time cash in at WrestleMania, becoming the champion, and creating many thoughts in the head of where they could take the Shield member Reigns, Shield member Seth, and where could Ambrose come in? So the amount of buzz that came from that, I just think the WWE did so right with that.
I'm just going to say something. I actually thought the Roman Reigns Lesnar match was pretty good, and I wouldn't have actually minded the way they worked the match and the way they booked Lesnar and Reigns. I actually wouldn't have minded Reigns winning all that much, to be honest with you. But I think that the Seth Rollins cashing in the Money in the Bank was definitely the best way to go to please everyone and just to make the next couple of months of WWE TV a little bit more compelling, in my opinion. What do you think of Justin Gabriel asking for his release? I can't blame him. I mean, he was a big part of the Nexus. Then he was supposed to be a big part of the core, and then WWE just never did anything with him. So he went from being this next big star, or second place to Wade Barrett in the Nexus, to just being a nobody. So who can blame him for asking for his release? Really, I sure as hell can't.
There might be people out there who might not believe in these words because maybe they feel that we didn't see enough of him. But I thought he was a fantastic, entertaining wrestler. His mic skills, he didn't really get enough to comment on that. But I enjoyed him in the ring. I actually wanted him to break away from Heath Slater and all that stuff and go off and be either in another entertaining tag team, an Intercontinental Champion. He would have made it to the main eventing thing, not from what we were seeing. But he was a wrestler that fans were seeming to like. The last thing I remember him going to Africa or Australia or something and being a big deal there.
Yeah, they did a vignette as well and everything. I remember that vignette being on. They did one on NXT. I think they did one on Raw. And at the time, you were thinking, bloody hell, they're actually going to try and do something with him. And then they had him lose to Cesaro and in a couple of tag teams, and yeah.
It upsets me because there's these wrestlers who fans seem to grasp like for what they provide in the ring, and guys like Justin Gabriel ask for his release because they tease something with him, let it go. I don't blame him.
No, neither do I. Another one of those examples of WWE, presenting us with what could be a good future talent and essentially going nowhere with them. So there's another one. Do you think him portraying the bunny is a low point of his career? Did he portray the bunny? I don't know. I don't know if he ever did.
That still hasn't been revealed, I don't think.
Maybe he liked carrots. I mean, who knows? Maybe they like carrots in South Africa. You can tell us if you're from South Africa in the comment section. Do you see the Lucha Dragons doing well on the main roster compared to the Ascension? Well, I think they have an advantage in the sense that they're baby faces, so obviously the crowd are going to like them naturally because, people probably see Kalisto and he reminds them of like a Rey Mysterio or something. The Ascension came in and never really connected. They were given the wrong gimmick, in my opinion. They were the new LOD. Why couldn't we just make them the Ascension?
The biggest thing you missed about the Lucha Dragons is they provide something that you don't get to see much in the WWE anymore. Yes, you might say, oh, we got Los Matadores, but their skills compared to the Lucha style, in my opinion, is different. And fans seem to like different kind of wrestling. That's why we've got the high flyers that people root for, like Neville joining Raw. People are cheering for him because he's not one of the big guys. The Lucha Dragons, they are quick, moving in the ring, can do absolutely all these fantastic moves. The Ascension could have been the opposite to them if the WWE, like we said in past Q&As, stuck with them and went through different stories to try and make them a big deal as heels.
Nerd Beast the Silent. Nerd Be the Silent. That's the name. 2 questions. Do you think a woman wrestler with a tickle submission would be a good finisher? It would be the finisher that is worse than the Cobra. So no. Do you remember on the WWE games when... calm down. Do you remember on the WWE games when the women wrestlers used to have the women's special slap as the finisher?
The spank, the
spank. Oh my god, yeah, that was terrible. I used to hate that.
If it's a diva with a submission move, it's a tickle. To be honest, it's like bringing back pillow fight. You bring something that's absolutely playful and silly, and all this give divas a chance, and you give your next big diva a tickle. Yeah. Woo!
I have a feeling he was joking there. He put LOL at the end.
I'm glad you were.
Before Taker losing the streak, do you think he would lose it to Andre the Giant, Hogan, or The Rock? I think he definitely would have lost to Hogan at WrestleMania, even though Hogan did beat him in '92 at I think Taboo, what was it, Tuesday in Texas or something? I don't know. He would have probably lost to The Rock because he was the biggest star in the Attitude Era. And Andre the Giant, he would have only just been starting at the time, so he probably would have lost to Andre the Giant. But good job he didn't. Otherwise, WWE wouldn't have a massive marketing scheme for WrestleMania every year.
Very true. If I had to pick out those 3, it would have been Hogan. I don't think Hogan would have wanted to lose at Mania. Even though I'm sure Hogan's got respect for The Undertaker, I still don't think Hogan would have wanted to be the one with his big character and his popularity to maybe have lost. I could see The Rock possibly going down for The Undertaker. Andre maybe at the time. I think Hogan would have had something to say about that.
I mean, the streak never really came as, it never really came to light until WrestleMania 17 when he beat Triple H. And apparently that time Triple H was supposed to beat Undertaker with the help of Shawn Michaels. And so it wasn't until then, and then we're not supposed to remember that match apparently. Sorry, brain. I'm just remembering all sorts of stuff that never happened here. Kind of like the Man on the Moon conspiracy. Where was I? I can't really remember now. Yeah, it wasn't until after WrestleMania 17 where they actually, had the streak thing going. So I think Andre the Giant, Hogan, and Rock before that time definitely would have beaten Hogan. Definitely would have beaten Undertaker because they just would have been higher on the card, and we would have just beat Undertaker. They would have done. Alex Scanga. Do you think Dean Ambrose will ever be WWE champion? Well, I think the only way he'll be WWE champion is if he wins Money in the Bank. I don't think he won't be doing that this year.
He is WWE champion right now.
What? Because he stole the belt?
No. the referee fought over a DQ finish. But to be honest, I'm looking past that. He did beat him 1, 2, 3. The pay-per-view should have finished with him winning instead of going through this whole drama like, oh, the referee, oh, the referee. To me, he is the champion, and going on Raw, he's still the champion. So I think when it comes to Money in the Bank, when he gets the rematch, I think Ambrose is going to win.
No, Seth Rollins is going to win because they've got so much potential there with a Seth Rollins Roman Reigns match and a Seth Rollins Brock Lesnar match. So you watch Seth Rollins win. You watch Seth Rollins win. No way Dean Ambrose is winning that. I'm sorry, brother. Who do you want to win Money in the Bank? Any standouts to you? I mean, obviously Roman Reigns will be winning the Money in the Bank if you go on what they're doing with him now.
I'm sorry, the Money in the Bank competitors, only Roman Reigns has a really fight his way. Yes, there's other people who could have beat him and took his place, but they already have the names in there. And the group is nothing too exciting. So yes, we're looking at Randy Orton again. We're possibly looking at maybe they're going to push Neville too quickly, or maybe it's going to be Roman Reigns. If anything, the way they're pushing him, I wish Barrett was in it. But he's not, so I'm going to give it to...
You mean King Barrett?
I would have loved that, but I'm going to flipping give it to probably Roman Reigns overcome the Authority or Neville, because people think, the WWE think people like Neville.
No, it won't be Neville. No. It will be Roman Reigns, trust me. Ebro S. If WrestleMania 33 was in London, would you go? Would you go?
Yes.
Would I go? Yeah. I think with the opportunity presenting itself, then I probably would.
Once in a lifetime.
You know,
the WWE won't watch that one up with us.
Yeah, well, there you go. But no, the problem is I don't really now, after not watching wrestling for such a long time, I don't know if I would have the passion to.
By Mania, more NXT wrestlers will be in it.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. It's one of the things that at the time, if they did, which they won't, if they did, I'd make a decision on it kind of last minute, perhaps. Do you want to answer that question, MJ?
Sure.
Ash RP Blonde, Annette Chapel, MJ, what happened to Mark?
Marvelous Mark. And, well, not that Marvelous Mark, but to be honest, the Mark we had was Marvelous too.
I honestly thought that Mark was a very good addition to our channel because he gave a different perspective. It was just a different person. So I'm a little bit upset that Mark isn't on the channel anymore, but obviously
with his life and him moving house and him still concentrating on wrestling, but probably not as much as his own personal life, which is why with this moving in his life, he's not being involved with the British Fist. But it is a shame, but with the British Fist, our feelings, I'm sure he's kind of not wanting to get involved in the loss of interest we're getting.
Yeah, probably, and who can blame him, really? I mean, if it wasn't for these Q&As being fun, and having the ability to pre-record them, probably wouldn't be on YouTube right now. But there you go. Toby Pierce, how can you make your opinion on wrestling when you're not watching it?
Here we go.
Very good question. Very, very good question. I mean, me personally, I don't watch Raw. I don't watch SmackDown. I've sort of stopped watching NXT now. I don't really watch any wrestling, but I do still watch and listen to wrestling podcasts. I still watch wrestling videos on YouTube. I still talk to MJ every now and then about things that are going on in wrestling. So I still feel that even though I'm not watching it, I still have some kind of valued opinion when it comes to wrestling, as I do, basing off history with WWE. And, with current events, it's a little bit harder for me to gauge them, but if you ask me a specific question, I can go back and watch a certain thing and give my opinion on it. Just because I'm not necessarily watching it on a consistent basis, it doesn't mean I can't give my opinion on it, really. It's like, for example, with soccer, if you're in American soccer, if you're European football, I don't necessarily watch every match, but because I'm a football fan, I can still give my opinion on certain teams and certain players, etc., even though I'm not watching them every week. It's just the way it is.
And I think, Toby, what I'm going to say about this is that I'm glad you're, in a way, coming at us with something you want to question. Because even though over the last few months, I've not felt the need to watch Raw because basically it's the pay-per-view that matters. Yes, you need to understand the build-up, but all shows seem to start the same, end the same, with the odd surprise here and there. It's not like it's going to be a surprise each and every week. And I'm giving my opinion because at the end of the day, I still watch more than Mr. Parkin does. I still try to keep my knowledge of what's going on, not in hopes something good comes and my opinion changes, but because I still have my love for the company and still want to try and show interest.
Yep, it's a good question. I must admit, you have every right to come at us with that. And you've heard our answer. Like I said, I still keep up to date with wrestling news sites. Like I go on NoDQ.com daily still to look at wrestling news.
WrestleZone.
Oh yeah, yeah, with all the adverts that come on and really hinder your viewing experience.
What else have you got on?
Oh, I don't fucking know. I don't really.
There are so many old ones.
Yeah,
No DQ for the win.
Yes, NoDQ.com. Seamus Delan. This is a good question, actually. Had Barrett retained the title and Rollins not cashing in, meaning Reigns won the WWE title, would the fans have completely shit on WrestleMania?
Had Barrett retained?
Yeah, to a degree. I think one of the reasons why people say this is a great WrestleMania is because of the cash-in and because of Daniel Bryan winning. But, you know, there were other things on the card. You know, you had that Sting Triple H match, which was there for nostalgia. You had other things on the card. So I don't think they would have necessarily shit on it, but I think Daniel Bryan winning the IC title and Rollins cashing it in definitely helped. You know, and you know, it got to the point with me where I was actually quite enjoying WrestleMania. I thought it was actually surprisingly enjoyable. I wouldn't have minded if Reigns won the match. I really wouldn't have, because the way it was booked, I was actually really rooting for Reigns, and I really couldn't understand why people weren't rooting for Roman Reigns. But there you go. So I would have been fine with it. But I do think when you include people like Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins, who people on the internet, you know, jerk over and jizz all over their screen about, yeah, I think that does kind of help when you're trying to grade WrestleMania. Some people said this was a great WrestleMania, a 9.5 out of 10. I personally thought it was surprisingly good, but just because it's surprisingly good, it doesn't make it a great show.
I'm going to give the WWE some credit because for a long time they didn't seem to acknowledge certain wrestlers as the ones to concentrate on because of fans liking them. As of recently, Rollins, Ambrose, NXT wrestlers, a bit of Ziggler, a bit of Barrett. And I think what they did at Mania is they did seem to concentrate on the wrestlers that fans or who the WWE see as the fans' favourites. So I think if we modelled up some of the matches and the results, I can see why people may have booed it or disliked it and stuff. But I do think the WWE made the right choices.
Alex Scanga, and asked 2 more questions on this Q&A. I should have just put these together, but, you know, that's what happens.
Hello again.
If you could bring back 3 legends for a dream match, dead or alive, for a dream triple threat match, dead or alive, who would they be? So many options. I mean, I'd include Macho Man in there, Ultimate Warrior, Hogan, Austin. There are so many different combinations, but in my opinion, it'd be great to do like a best of each era match. You could have like a Hogan versus Austin versus John Cena, or you could even put a Triple H in there, or you could even put a Rock in there, or someone like that.
Brett, Eddie Guerrero, Daniel Bryan.
Not a bad one if you're a wrestling purist. There are many out there. If you want to put it in the comment section below, please let us know. There are so many different combinations here. It's very hard to really give a definitive answer to this question. After the controversy with Rey Mysterio, do you think WWE will let Rey into the Hall of Fame? I think they will, because I mean they've always got that one moment to draw on Rey Mysterio, and I think eventually they will let him go in the Hall of Fame, not as a headline piece, but as a side piece, in my opinion, kind of like you know, in the same way that like a Christian would be, in my opinion.
I think with Rey Mysterio, I think because yes, he made it to the World Championship scene and became champion, but I don't, like Mr. Parkin said, I don't think he'd be a headliner, but he will be a name that obviously will attract people because of who he is. So going to the Hall of Fame, I don't see why not because of his name and what he's done for the WWE and possibly before.
And we've seen WWE mend many fences, like Ultimate Warrior, Bruno Sammartino, people like that, like Scott Hall, etc., Jake the Snake Roberts. We've seen loads of fences mended. So it just goes to show that WWE are all, even if there has been controversy, they're all for, they're all for bringing these big stars back for a Hall of Fame or something. Which brings us on to our next question. We could probably spend hours discussing this, but let's try and condense this to like a minute or two. When do you think CM Punk will come back to the WWE? Never. He's categorically stated he wouldn't come back to WWE. He's in UFC right now. We're still ready to see what's going to happen with him. Well, people are. I'm not. But I think never say never with the WWE, but I think CM Punk's bitterness of WWE and, the story he told, it wouldn't blame me if even if he was offered a massive sum of money, he would just say no.
I think for big comeback, I think for what CM Punk did, I think his comeback in a few years would be huge though. He's left a big story and a big talking point for many people. So if he managed to come back in a couple of years, I think that would be a surprise that no one would be expecting. It'll be another huge talking point. But I don't think CM Punk is going to be one of the guys that not retires, but leaves the company only to come back.
Got a bit of a cough, haven't you? You all right? You feeling all right? Maybe you should have some of that Diet Mountain Dew or whatever the fuck it's called.
As we finish this video.
Yeah, so I think CM Punk coming back to the WWE, highly, highly unlikely. But if it did happen, there would be plenty of reason to do it, in my opinion. And that's been another Q&A. I know we've gone a little bit long here, but it doesn't matter. We're answering questions just as the ice cream van goes past our house engine. I'm just going to let you finish this off, and then I can rush out and get an ice cream.
I'm going to say this. F you ice cream band. Now, people, thank you very much for watching. Well, Mr. Parkin.
Reminds you of the Vorty villains, doesn't it?
It's gone. Right, yes, the Vorty villains, which is a great video you should watch because we've uploaded it, we've shared it, and it's great. And to be honest, that's a new character that you will never be seeing again unless the Vorty villains you took big within the WWE. And now, people, thank you very much for watching. This has been a very entertaining video. Keep the questions that make us think and get frustrated with you for asking it and stuff like that in the comment section below. And until next time, goodbye.